Derek Carr interview, New Orleans Football, providing us an inside look at our Lord and Savior Derek Carr heading into the Minnesota Vikings game. Let's go ahead and listen to what we're thinking, okay, how we're feeling, the momentum, all that stuff going into this game. I've made it very clear. Every game is a Super Bowl. Every game is must win. Every game has to have it. So I'm assuming Derek will echo a lot of that sentiment. We have to win games. The only game that we can drop, and it's okay if we drop, is the Lions game. Besides that, we should be the favorite in all the games. We have the better quarterback. We have the better roster. Win the games. We need to finish 11 wins, somewhere in there, north of 10 wins. We need it. Derek, how are you feeling?
Derek, how hard is it to do what Josh Dobbs did last week? I mean, I know you probably never had to do that in your career, but
the Dobbs thing was nuts. I mean, think about how hard that is. You know, Dobbs gets sent to Minnesota, Jaron Hall gets hurt or whatever happens, and all of a sudden Dobbs has to play. He doesn't even know his teammates' names. He doesn't know the playbook. He doesn't know anything. And it's pretty crazy. So, like, I mean, the whole story of that, even how Kevin O'Connell, the coach, O'Connell was basically like laying out the plays exactly how they would happen to help Dobbs. And it really showed how good of a coach he is. The whole thing was one of those moments where everybody had to come together. They had to be at their very best. They all were, and they got the win. I mean, it's one of those moments in sports where it's wild. You know, Dobbs comes in, could not be less prepared for that situation. And somehow the Vikings got it done. I mean, insane. I've heard people say O'Connell might be coach of the year just off the back of that performance. That's how much I think people are impressed with what they did in Minnesota.
No, what he did was unbelievable, and I hope it's getting. I don't know if it's getting talked about. I hope it is.
Derek, we're talking about it right now.
Attention to everything that's out there, but I hope it's being talked about because what he was able to do. I did see them on the sideline, like going through the cadence of. Everyone has a different rhythm, and the fact that they were able to execute and go out and do that, like. Yeah, I mean, tip of the cap to Josh because that was awesome.
Not to mention, huge for the Saints. Like Atlanta dropping that game because we talked about it before, where Atlanta's schedule is just as easy as ours. So if they would have held serve, if they would have kept winning, that's why I kept saying we can't lose any games. The more that they slip up, the more that they get beat by teams like Minnesota, the better for us for sure.
It's like where the rocket science degree comes in handy.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I don't have one of those. But no, watching him be able to do that was really impressive. It's hard enough just going through a game plan and going out there and getting a win. And the fact that he came in with very few reps and was able to do that and accomplish that. That's hats off to KO calling the plays.
I will say though, there is something to be talked about. Of just playing free. You don't know the playbook. You don't know the check downs. You don't know the adjustments. You got to just play. You got to just backyard football. You got to just play. And sometimes this is one of the worst comparisons. But sometimes like in golf, if you're too focused on your swing, if you're too focused on every moment and pivot and swivel, you can kind of get in your own head. And sometimes if you take a break and just play, your swing will feel better because you're not thinking about it. You're just out there swinging. You're swinging free. Everything's coming natural. And that might have happened to Dobbs and the Vikings where they didn't have a choice but to just kind of play free. And, I mean, the results speak for themselves.
Helping him out, and hats off to him making the plays happen.
Well, it's like one of the things I think that they talked about was like they were actually like having to explain the play over the speaker in his helmet.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's like a super chaotic situation, normally speaking, right? Like,
yeah, that's pretty.
Could you imagine even having to do that?
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. So, like, that is awesome. And, the fact that, he's obviously a smart guy, so if he can handle that and do that, it was really cool. But also knowing, Coach, like, KO's one of the best in the business, especially for.
That's something that fans can't really process or don't really think about. I certainly didn't, but was the speakers in the helmets. I've heard from some quarterbacks that some OCs and some head coaches or whoever's in the headset is like they'll talk throughout the play. Like they'll talk for an extended period of time. It's not just like here's the play. It'll be here's the play, here's your first read, here's what to look for, here's what to do. I couldn't even imagine trying to process everything as a quarterback, all the while somebody's like in your ear just firing off. I mean, that would be very difficult. That'd be very, very difficult. I've never really thought about what it sounds like in the helmet for the green dots, whether the quarterback and the defensive player. But it sounds like it can be a pretty extensive conversation. It's not always just the play call.
Quarterbacks, and so it doesn't surprise me that he was able to do that and help him out because he's one of the best at working with quarterbacks in the whole entire league.
Is there a trait that jumps out with this Minnesota defense? I know they have a guy that's got a lot of sacks on their roster as well. I mean, what stands out about this Minnesota?
So the Minnesota defense is going to blitz. Bottom line, I had a commenter point out very astutely that Minnesota likes to blitz. Brian Flores is the most blitz-heavy coach in the NFL. He is absolutely going to send heat. Absolutely going to try and get after Derek Carr. How we handle the pressure, how we handle the blitz, do we pick it up? That will be a huge majority of the success that the Saints will have offensively against Minnesota.
Fly around, man. They fly around. They got talent. They got talent everywhere from their own draft picks, from trades, free agents. I mean, they got so much talent all over the place. And I could start naming players and tell you all about them, but you just see the thing that jumps out is they fly around. They create havoc in the pocket. They punching the ball out, getting picks, whatever. Like they're flying around and very well coached, obviously with coach there, and great scheme. It's been tough for years to go against, and so you had good scheme with good players. You're going to get great results. And
if you asked an AI bot to describe a defense, that's how they would describe it: fly around, force turnovers, well coached. I mean, every cliche was just unlocked there by Derek.
They've done some things really, really well.
Derek, how much can like a team really ride momentum? Because I know like Minnesota's won 4 straight. You guys are seeming to pick it up. Is there
They got to find a different area to do these interviews. I mean, the New Orleans Saints have got to, and this is on the Saints, where they make the players available. It's like a monster truck rally. The last time we did one of these with Pete Carmichael, they were landing a plane or something, and now Derek Carr's in the middle of a monster truck rally. Crazy. I mean, the Saints are not helping the reporters out where they make the players and coaches available. Let's move them inside. Let's move them away from the Talladega Super Speedway or whatever's going on.
Something tangible you can use that to move on, or is it really just week to week?
There's a damn train.
I don't know. I've been in sports, my whole life, and everyone talks about momentum, and everyone can kind of feel it. You can't, but I don't know how to tangibly put a thing on it. You come in every day and you try and give your best effort. When we had a few losses there, I was still giving my best effort like it was the Super Bowl. We've won a few, and I'm still giving my best effort like it's the Super Bowl. And so I don't know. I don't know.
Momentum is weird. Momentum is definitely real. It's like clutch or any of those other intangibles we always talk about. I'm not sure how you quantify it. It is real. Everyone feels it. Everyone can feel momentum slipping or sometimes you feel like you're just you can't miss or you can't be touched or whatever you're doing and everything's just working out. Like, momentum certainly can carry over in sports, especially team sports. Now, I think the Saints suffered from reverse momentum earlier this year, where anything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. No matter what they were doing, they were losing games and things just weren't working out for them. I'm hoping when starting with Indy that kind of starts the momentum the other way. It didn't really translate into the Bears game. I was certainly hoping for better results. A win is a win, I guess, but 5 turnovers, didn't cover, one to score game. And then this is a situation where this isn't a great spot as far as Carr and Allen. They have not been great whenever they're favorites, especially when they're favorites on the road. So to be in the favorite role on the road, expected to win against a team with some fight, a team where they're kind of playing without any pressure on them. Josh Dobbs certainly isn't feeling the same pressure that Derek Carr is feeling. The Vikings aren't feeling the same pressure that the Saints are feeling. And Justin Jefferson might be coming back to add even more positive, kind of a positive vibe around the Vikings. So this is a gut check game. This is a game where it looked easy on the schedule when it was Jaron Hall, when Cousins went out, when it was supposed to be the rookie starting. But now that Dobbs is there, now that they got that huge win last week, if Jefferson comes back, this is a game the Saints are going to have to go and win. I mean, this is not going to be easy.
I think if coaches knew how to bottle that up, they'd have a secret formula and all those kind of things. But it's just one of those things, man. You just keep doing things right. I just believe in the process of the weekly, preparation, and then going out there and cutting it loose and trying to execute the plays so precisely and so perfectly, knowing that you'll never get there. But it just, running good football plays, running with the right fundamentals. You train that all week and all off season, your whole life, and that's where I think if you get a group of guys doing that momentum shows up.
Yeah, that pursuit for perfection in a sense, right?
That's exactly right.
If you can get to 3 before the bye week, I mean, is that kind of the goal right now for this team to want to get into that bye week 3 straight and then really kind of get going the second half?
Well, absolutely.
Yes, obviously they want to win going into the bye week. They need to win going into the bye week, and then they need to win after the bye week, because the bye week leads right into Atlanta. And that game against Atlanta, Derek talked about the Super Bowl, that might as well be the Super Bowl. So get a win in Minnesota, get into the bye, a much needed bye, and then we got to handle business in Atlanta.
Absolutely. Anytime you have a bye week or you play a Thursday game extended time, that extra time, after a loss is always terrible. You want to go into that with a win. That's every team in the NFL. You're going into your bye week, you want to win. It feels better. Everyone's happy. All those things. But for us, the focus is this week. The bye week is
smart.
Long ways away. Right now we have to prepare. Today.
I was just thinking that. As I was saying that, I was like, man, I hope they aren't looking ahead to that bye week. I hope they aren't looking ahead to a bye week in Atlanta, because they better be looking at this game right here. So I'm glad Derek kind of emphasize that.
Today is the most important day, and that's the only way we keep doing that you get the results that you want. And so, I thought our meetings after the win were very good, very positive, very, calling out the things we need to do better, just saying, hey, we got to start doing it better in there. It just put that fire. Coach, DA did a great job of lighting that fire in us again, saying, hey, this was good, but this is where it could be better. And as long as we're focused.
It wasn't good. The Bears game wasn't good. The only thing good was the result. The 5 turnovers were good too, I suppose. But besides that, there isn't, that's a great example of a game where, hey guys, we won, but here's a laundry list of stuff we need to do better moving forward.
Just on that, I think that we can hopefully feel good after that.
I know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you played 1 regular season game there maybe in 19, I think 1.
I think so, 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember, because people make a lot of the Dome, but that's a pretty loud place, pageantry before the game. Do you remember any of that or anything about the atmosphere?
Oh yeah, it's if you ask everyone around the league, it's one of everyone's favorite stadiums to play in. It's really an awesome environment. The crowd is awesome. They've always, from when I've been in the league, they've always had really good football teams, especially.
Yeah, the skull chant and all that stuff they do before the game with the horn or the battle horn or whatever. It is pretty cool. So Minnesota's got a good thing going on culturally at the stadium.
Defensively, and so, being able to go there and be in that environment, I mean, that's what you get excited about, that kind of stuff. The Dome, there's nothing like the Dome, but
there you go.
To go there
you go, baby.
A lot of people would say it's one of their favorite places to play.
As far as, I feel like some of us that have been here a while, we can't talk about Minnesota without the Minnesota Miracle. Most of those guys are gone now.
Ooh.
Do you remember seeing that play or watching that play or kind of?
I'll never forget where I was. I'll never forget it. I was at my aunt and uncle's house in D'Iberville, Mississippi. I was standing behind the couch. My cousin was next to me, and there was a spread. It was one of those games where everyone was there. There was so many finger sandwiches and salami trays and chicken tenders and sandwiches and chili and salsa and chips and queso. I was living like a king. And I remember, I hope I remember this correctly, the first half, or maybe even the first 3 quarters, we played like total garbage. It was the worst I've ever seen Drew Brees. All of a sudden then, something clicked. And Brees became the greatest quarterback to ever live. And led us back and took the lead and all that. And then I think it might have been my uncle or my grandpa. I can't remember who. But one of them said, right before the play, or right before they got the last possession, they said something to the effect of like, don't celebrate now, the Saints will screw it up. Which is just never what you want to hear watching a game. You never want to hear, you never want someone to put something into the atmosphere, the negative juju. You never want that voodoo on you. And then, of course, the Minnesota Miracle happened. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. It was one of those things where after it happened, I couldn't even believe it was real. I just stood there and I just stared, and I was just so shocked at what I just witnessed. For a Saints fan, for those like 4 years, to end the season on the last play of the game is pretty wild. Like to lose in overtime against the Rams. So obviously the season ends on the field goal. The Minnesota Miracle to lose against the Rams again, the walk-off touchdown. That was a brutal couple of years there. That was tough, where everything was just against you. Everything on the last second, the whole season. Like, think about all the videos we did. Think about all the conversations we've had. Think about everything we've done so far. And we're only halfway into this season. Now imagine the second half of the season. Now imagine the playoffs. Now imagine if we went to the NFC title game. And then imagine if we lost on the last play of the game in the NFC title game. Oh, like that. It's just so much investment from a fan's point of view. So much time, so much energy. I know the Minnesota Miracle wasn't the NFC title game. I was talking more about the Rams game. And that was my whole thing with the Rams game. I just wanted the week. I just wanted the Super Bowl week. Like all week. Just get hyped, the Saints stuff, like all that. I just wanted that so bad. And then it was taken away from me. But the Minnesota Miracle was brutal. It was really, really tough. I mean, that's one of those things you see and you're like, this might never happen again.
I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing that, and the defender who was in on that play, like, he's a great player.
Yeah, Marcus Williams.
The guy, obviously, who caught the ball is a great player.
Yeah, like Stephon Diggs.
I don't know too much about the history here about that, but I remember from afar just seeing 2 great teams going at it in that game. And it came down to the wire. You're trying to get a play to get into range and all that kind of stuff, and then that happens, So I remember watching it. I remember, seeing all that. But I just remember that game being an awesome game to watch.
Derek, Brian Flores kind of has this reputation as being a guy who blitzes a lot.
Yeah.
You see that when you're looking at film this week?
So far ahead of the game over here. I mean, unbelievable.
Absolutely. He's always been that way, and they do a great job of, bringing it, showing you the same look, and dropping out of it. They do, they try, lull you to sleep with something, and then they hit you with something. He's such a good coach. He really is. He's a great coach.
Flores is awesome.
I've always had so much respect for him from afar, obviously going against him. And he always makes it difficult on quarterbacks. And you watch the tape, some really good teams having some.
And we'll talk about the actual game in our weekly game preview, but I sure hope somebody has emailed Pistol Pete or sent him a WhatsApp message or DM'd his Zanga page or sent him a message on MySpace or whatever. Got into his Yahoo Pool chat room. And that's another video for a different day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope they told Pete that, hey, Brian's going to blitz, so we might want to figure out how to beat the blitz. If we're getting blitzed Sunday and we can't figure anything out and Carr's getting lit up, I'm going to come unglued, because I hope Pete and the Brain Trust implement some screens. I hope they start to kind of massage the game plan in preparation for those blitzes.
Some problems, and so for us, we got to be so locked in on our details and our rules and on our game plan, so that we can go out there and try and have a successful day against him, because it's tough. He's done a great job for a long time against really good offenses. So we got our work cut out for us.
Is that like the simulated pressures that you're talking about, or like where they're presenting a different picture post snap sort of deal? Or?
They could show you the same picture and bring about 4 different guys. They can show you the same picture and drop them all. They can show you the same picture and bring them all. They do a lot of really good things before the snap, and as soon as the ball snapped and the film is paused, it's easy to be like, well, why didn't they do this? Well, it's like, you see a lot of teams struggling with playing against them because.
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult. You get shown the same look and there's 20 different blitz packages out of it, or it's hard. I mean, he does make it hard. They are creative. He is as good of a DC as you'll find.
It all looks the same, and they have Harrison, who's one of the greatest all-time disguise players. Him and Eric Weddle. I've played them for so many years. They know how to show one thing to make you think that, and then this, and that. They have a great feel of the game, and you appreciate that. And guys like that mixed in with that scheme, it makes it very difficult.
Your defense leads the league in takeaways. I guess it's an obvious question, but how, as an offense, how do you feed off that as an offense?
I'm the happiest man ever.
The questions, just again, how of course the offense is going to greatly need the turnovers, want the turnovers, be excited about the turnovers, extra possessions, all that stuff. When we give away as many possessions as we give away, to get extra possessions is a lifesaver. Again, +5 in the turnover battle against Chicago, won by 7. So we needed every one of those turnovers.
And
we're going to need them against Minnesota.
We need them to keep doing it, because defenses help you win championships.
No doubt.
So that watching them, perform the way that they have. I know there's things they want to clean up. There's things we want to clean up. We feel like we're playing better. They feel like they're playing better, and we're all this constant pursuit, man, of just wanting to be better. So we're thankful for the wins. We're thankful for all the turnover, whatever, and keeping it safe and all that. But if we start relaxing in that, we're going to find ourselves down a hole we don't want to go. And so,
great point, Derek. I've been saying it for weeks, and I'm glad Derek is echoing that. They do have to continue to improve, and I will say this: I think they have improved. The Saints team that we're watching right now is way better than the team that played against Green Bay. Way better than the team that played against Houston. And that's all that matters. If we keep getting better and getting better and getting better, if we keep winning, keep taking care of business, like I said, we will be a really, really good 10, 11, 12 win team. We will be right there. We will be a really good 12 win team or 11 win team. I guess it'd be 12. We'd be a great 12-5 team, quick maths, division champion, 12-5, going into the playoffs. We would have grown throughout the year, got over all these trials and tribulations. That is the dream. That is what we want. Anyone that thinks that this version of the Saints is the end-all be-all version, it's not the case. God, I hope it's not the case. This team's evolving. Every week they're evolving. And they're working through the growing pains, all the stuff we've talked about, no doubt, for sure. But hopefully this game is a win, and then we get the bye week to really kind of hammer home some of those growing pains, and then boom, Atlanta. But we have a good performance here. We do what Derek's talking about here. It's crazy. I keep saying this, but we are still on track because of our schedule to be an 11-12 win team. And if you would have told me after the Green Bay game, hey, this team is going to win 12 games, I would have laughed you out of the building. But I still believe in them. I really do. I still believe in the team.
So, our job is just to, as leaders, stay focused on being present every day. Thankful for what you have done, but staying present every day to keep trying to make more and keep trying to create more.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? How do you feel about what Derek was saying? Are you ready for the Vikings game this weekend? We'll be covering the game much more over the course of the weekend, but feel free to drop me a prediction in the comments below. I will be down there reading the comments like always. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.